Brantford, Ontario, Canada, 1958. 4-year-old Pamela Summerhayes is diagnosed with the most common fatal genetic disease of children and young adults, cystic fibrosis. She couldn't pronounce the name of her illness and called it 65 Roses. Her older sister Heather was Pam's best friend and companion in her fight for life. Through years of struggle, each helped the other learn where to find joy and meaning in a world of pain, fear, and uncertainty.
I didn't really understand exactly what cystic fibrosis was. I used to come right out and ask, I remember, am I going to die, Daddy? And he used to say, well, you will, everyone dies, but you won't necessarily die from cystic fibrosis. You could go out on the street and be hit. My parents really gave me a lot of support, and my family. And I've been very fortunate for that.
At the age of 26, as Pam lay dying, she begged a promise of Heather.
She said, you're meant to write. You need to start by writing our story, tell the story of what we lived through together. And I said, okay. And she said, no, promise me. And I said, I promise. And she grabbed my hand really tight and said, no, promise me. So I promised, and that was the last conversation we had.
I never really expressed this anger outwardly. I often kept it sort of inside until it sort of built up, and finally I would have a crying spell and sort of let it all out and get really upset.
I had writing days where the writing consisted of me starting to write a sentence and then just laying down on the floor and wailing for 2 hours and then getting back up and finishing the sentence.
I just wish people weren't quite so frightened of facing their own death and facing the death or the feelings, just the feelings, sharing with other people.
I walked into the hotel room and had, what I call my last fight with her. I looked up at the ceiling of the hotel room, I was crying, and I said, why did you put this on me? It's like an albatross around my neck. Why have you given me this burden? I don't want it. I can't do it. I took the manuscript. I threw it across the room. I ran. I stomped on the manuscript. I picked it up and threw it back.
65 Roses, A Sister's Memoir, is a story of family love, loss, and survival.
I enjoyed most every moment of my life, even whether it was up or down. That I got some enjoyment out of it. There was always something to learn from it. And there was always something in the world that was sort of beautiful that you could take from.
Because my best friend and sister was dying, I became much more aware of life and much more appreciative of it. And she certainly taught me you can't control life by being afraid of it. And that's been a real big lesson to me, to just stop being afraid, to try things and do things and put myself out there.
Through my sharing of, say, talking about my feelings, that I am able to reach even one person, to get them thinking and realizing that they too have a lot to share, but you have to open yourself up to it and take a risk of saying how you feel, that it's more likely to help somebody than to hurt somebody.
As my sister said, in spite of the ups and downs, there's beauty in the world every day if you care to look for it, and something that can make you joyful every day, no matter what situation you find yourself in. That's her message. That was her message to me, and I want to share that with the world. I do.
65 Roses is rich in detail, funny, and profoundly moving. If you are a person who has walked with a loved one through difficult circumstances, or are simply someone who enjoys being inspired by a beautifully written book, come, read 65 Roses. Let Heather and Pam take you on a journey you'll never forget.
Life on the other side.